What is going on, everybody? Part 2. We are going from Florida to Michigan, and this video is going to be a little bit different because we're going to go a little faster. From Michigan to Florida, we took 3 days. We took our time. We didn't really care about the supercharging. We ended up still getting to Florida actually exactly on time with 3 days. Now we're doing it in 2. So we're going to leave today, we're going to get a hotel tonight, and then we're going to get home the next day. And I really want to drive through the night, but the kids are just a little too young. Maybe in a year, 2, 3 years, something like that, we'll be just driving all the way through and doing this in one go. But for now with the kids, this is the way it's going to go. So it's still not going to be the fastest electric road trip you've ever seen. We're not going to optimize charging to the max, but with this one, we are going to try to do a little bit better with arriving to the supercharger at like the right percentage and then leaving kind of as soon as it's done rather than hanging around talking to everybody. Now, we'll probably still talk to a lot of people. I know you guys liked that in the last video, so you know, you'll get to see that. I'll include as much of that as I can, but at the same time, it's going to be like, all right, we got to go. Nice to talk to you. Whereas before, I was talking to people for 20, 30, even 40 minutes before we were moving on to the next stop because we were just having fun. So packing up, obviously really easy, just throwing everything in the bed. I can show you that. I have it all open here. So there's that. And, you know, there's more to come, of course, but everything's packed up. We're just going to throw it in, and then we're going to get going. The Cybertruck is currently at 92%. I went last night and just hung out at the supercharger. Again, I talked to people for a while. Just pretty much people just walk up, start talking to you, which is a lot of fun. Again, if that's still happening in 6 months, maybe get a little old, but for now, it's new. We're on vacation. We're having a good time, so it's not a big deal. So, yeah, this is Cybertruck. We did have a couple of issues I will talk about. I guess I'll just tell you now. So number one, this piece right here, this trim piece, it goes from here all the way up and all the way to the back. There's a bolt right here, and then the rest of this up is clips. And the nut actually must have shaken loose off of this bolt here. And this piece was flapping in the wind. I have a picture of it, but I don't have a video, so I can show you that. And we went to Walmart and picked up a nut to replace it on there. So luckily it's good now. We have a few extras in case that one falls off, but I've been playing with it. It's not coming loose, but I'm gonna put in the ticket for Tesla service as soon as I get back, and then they'll have to replace that. I think it did bend this piece just a little bit because it was flapping around in the wind somewhere around here, but I actually can't see it at all. So I don't know, we'll see. But still, they need to, of course, know that happened and take care of it. Other than that, Cybertruck has been good. It did have one other thing where we came out here and it was like off. It was basically like dead, like nothing was happening. The door still worked even though that was happening, and I did the scroll wheel reset, and it turned back on. It had an error message about the brake might not engage or disengage, but then that error message went away and nothing has happened since. So, you know, it's been fine. It's been good. So, yeah, let's get going. This video is brought to you by Joa, maker of premium Tesla and vehicle accessories. Claim your discount by using the link in the description below. So we're heading up. We left. We are predicted to get to our first stop with 23%. That just keeps going up every minute. When we left, I think it predicted 19%, and then at 22%, it just keeps going up. So we're going 5 over, whatever. That seems to be the theme of Cybertruck. It feels like things aren't quite dialed in terms of how much energy it thinks it's going to use, and also how long it's going to take to supercharge. It just seems, I don't know, like they used algorithms from the S and X while they refine all of this. That's my guess. But so we're heading up again on the East Coast, and it originally, so I just routed home. Look at me without autopilot. So I just routed straight home, and it was going to take us up the middle, which is not the way we want to go. We did that last year, and it was just no good. Routed us to Jonesville, North Carolina, and that'll keep us on the East Coast. And then, you know, once we get going a little bit, we can just put in our home address, or we'll probably put in something nearby, so I don't have to edit the video too much. But yeah, so we'll see how we pull in with this first supercharger. But 23%, whatever. Like I said, we're going to try to only charge as much as we need and then move on, but we'll see how that goes.
Can't get to zoom on it, but Anybody who knows anything knows what that is.
So we just avoided disaster. We're like just about to get the supercharger. That's right, there was 7 minutes left. And I go, is this at Buc-ee's? And we check, and it was going to take us to Buc-ee's. But luckily, in this same spot, there's like 3 superchargers all right next to each other. So we're backtracking a little bit. Literally, I think it's like adds 4 minutes to the trip. And we're gonna go to this other supercharger. It's still V3. There's 0 people there charging, and it's at a Target instead of Buc-ee's. Stephanie was telling me, I didn't see it myself. Oh, I'm getting over too early here. Stephanie.
No, you don't.
Kyle Connor got stuck at Buc-ee's, and what did you say? He had to get escorted out.
People were like I just saw a clip on X, but they were like moving cones for him. Like the staff was out there, and he was just like trying to speed out of there.
So like he couldn't get out. So we don't want to end up in that. Like I said earlier, we're gonna try to get through this trip a little faster. We're not gonna rush too much, but we're gonna try to make it more of an optimal traveling experience rather than hanging out at every charger for forever. So this is supposed to be a 15-minute charge. We're gonna do our best to run in and use the bathroom and get back and leave as soon as the car says it's ready. Can we do it? I don't know, but we're gonna try. I gotta interrupt before this charging stop because people keep asking me, what's with the cooler you have in the car? I talk about it a lot in the last video and this video. We keep cold food in there like yogurt and cheese and whatever for the kids and some stuff for us. And people are like, what is that? Well, the one that we brought with us is discontinued. But good news, I have a sponsor for this portion of the video, and that is Test Fridge. And I also got them to take $150 off of this for you if you use the link below. So if you're interested in this, make sure you use that link to save $150. Let me open this up for you and we can look at it and check it out. There it is down there. It's plugged in. It's being powered by the Cybertruck. Now, this is actually supposed to be, this specific one goes in the sub-trunk of the Model Y. Of course, you can use it wherever you want. So although it does fit really nicely into the sub-trunk of the Model Y and can be powered off of the 12-volt port back there, no problem. The way I would be using it is right here in my Cybertruck, and this would be so nice. So we could have all of our stuff here. You could open it just like that, grab whatever you need. Actually, I opened this, and a lot of the times what we were doing on the road trip, so we'd pull up to a spot, this would be all closed. I could just open this up just this much. I don't need to spend much time. I guess I gotta open it more than that, haha. There you go. So we can open the vault just like that, and boom, everything I need is right here. So like I said, you can charge it off the 12-volt power. I kind of snuck my own adapter here so I could plug it into the Cybertruck. It's working great. This gets down really cold for you, really fast, and the best part is it can use as little as 36 watts, which if you're in a Cybertruck, you'd have to run this thing for 10 hours to reduce your range by 1 mile. So it's not really gonna impact your range all that much if you're using it while road tripping. But of course, you could also use it while you're camping, while you're tailgating. You could just put this down. You could be hanging out on the bed of your Cybertruck or whatever truck, really. A lot of trucks have plugs in the bed. And this thing is here waiting for you. Now, if you need to take it somewhere, one of the things I really love about this is the handle. So you can very easily pick this up, take it with you. It's very lightweight. You can hear it running back there, but we've had it. We've used this in the sub-trunk of the Model Y as well. And while you're driving, because you can put the cover back on, you can't even hear it. It's ventilated nicely. Everything works really well. I'm very impressed by this thing. So if you want an electric cooler, I recommend this one for sure. It's shaped really nicely. It's awesome for a Model Y, but you really can use it for anything. You don't have to have it in a Model Y. You can use it in tons of different scenarios. The low power means you could even just power this off like a portable battery. It would last you hours and hours. It's just a really nice cooler that you can check out. I'll have a link down below. So make sure you check out the Test Fridge if you are looking for that type of equipment. Here we go. So, oh man, I parked so bad. I'm so bad at parking this thing still. Like sometimes I park like so perfectly and then other times I'm all crooked, but I don't think anyone's gonna be, oh, this is so bad. I did a really bad job. I actually maybe should fix this. It's that bad. Look how bad this is. Well, someone could fit there. I'm sure it'll be fine, as long as it's not another Cybertruck. All right, let's go in and go fast. I think it's, hold on, let's look at the screen. Oh my goodness, this is embarrassing. Get away from the truck immediately. 13 minutes, can we do it? All right, we had time to get dessert, and last I looked, it said 2 minutes left. So I think we're gonna do it. I think we're gonna be there right when it finishes. I can move from my terrible parking job and we can get out of here, but we'll check in with you on the road. All right, hurry, hurry, hurry. Let's go. It's ready to go before us. Hop in. Okay, you don't have... Oh, right here.
I won't hold you up for more than a second.
It's all right. How's it going?
Hello.
What's your name?
Long time follower, man.
Oh, thank you. What's your name?
Happy man.
Okay, cool. Nice to meet you.
And things like that. I saw your truck. I was like, oh wow. That's
Yeah.
kind of ironic.
Cool.
For being one of the few.
Oh, thank you, thank you. What do you think?
Good deal. Oh, it looks great. It looks.
It doesn't show pollen as much as black does.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, it looks great. You know,
Cool.
you see it on TV and everything. You know,
Yeah.
I was watching the launch and all that kind of stuff on on YouTube.
Right.
And they all say you have to see it in person versus see it in.
And you agree?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think you definitely have to see it in person.
Yeah, I think so. I think it looks way better in person than the pictures and the videos. But
Yeah.
minus my terrible park job.
It all works out.
It was only a 13-minute charge, so I was like, I'm not fixing it. We're just
Yeah.
gonna go fast, and now we're gonna go. So.
Did you actually drive it all the way down?
Oh yeah, yep. From Michigan, and now we're heading home. This is
Yeah?
our first charge on the way home. Yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's all right. We have enough energy to continue our trip. We talked to a couple of guys there. One was a subscriber. I don't know if the second guy was or not, but that's all right. And that's it. Here we go. We did it.
Did we?
Well, maybe 2 minutes extra charging.
But those guys were very respectful.
Yeah, they were like, we're going to let you go. So sweet. All right, so we got out of there pretty much on time. It said we charged for 13 minutes in the Tesla app. And that was the plan, was 13 minutes. Although it was definitely plugged in after the car said you're ready to go. So it was a good charge. I mean, that stop couldn't have been much better. We talked to a couple people. I mean, we definitely talked to them, but I still felt like I rushed a little bit. I was like, trying to get out of there, which, to be honest, is just not my style. I was trying to do that stop really fast, but I didn't really enjoy how that stop went, even though it was like optimal timing-wise. I don't know. I just like the kind of chill, like, yeah, we're on a road trip, we're hanging out, we're family kind of vibe more than like, let's go as fast as we can. So it's still good to talk to a couple people and move on and at least get some of this data. So, it says 13% now. So when we left, it said 11%. And I was like, sweet, that's great. And if anything, we can just go the speed limit or a little slower if we have to. It bumped down to 10%, and now it says 13%, even though before we started this video, it said 11%. So we're getting there. That'll be one of our lowest pull-ins to a supercharger by far, if that's what we get. But if it's anything else, I mean, it seems like we're getting to superchargers with about 5% more than it estimates when we leave. And even the last one, we got there with 4% more than the original estimate, even though we backtracked and did some extra driving. So, whatever. Let's bump up the speed and see what happens.
And it was only 13-minute charge, but said it was going to be 15.
That's right.
So everything is like overestimated.
Okay. Heading into the Yulee, Florida supercharger, our last stop in Florida.
Oh, this
Now turn right onto Holmes
Sorry,
Way.
yeah.
that was my fault.
That's right. And we got here pretty good. I mean, the timing was good. Is this where we're supposed to turn?
Now turn right.
Yeah, it's up in there.
Weird. So, timing was pretty good. I drank too much coffee, so my bad. I shouldn't have drank so much, so we did have to stop. But it was super fast. And now we're here. And we're arriving with, what, 13%? That's really not too bad. That's 2% more than originally predicted. 2 to 3% more than originally predicted. But again, it's going to be another quick, efficient stop. There's nobody here.
Yeah.
Well, it said there were only 5 stalls available, so I'm just...
Maybe some are not working.
Yeah, I don't know, but let's see. I'm going to back in. I'm going to do it right this time. Not going to mess it up, I hope. So these are an interesting setup. They're sideways compared to what we normally have. And that looks good. I'm just checking all the cameras. Lamps. I don't think we have to get too close to these, but let's plug in. And this is also a nice looking area, too. So here, oh, this is kind of weird how I have to I barely fit here. But man, look at all that extra cable length we have on that. That's actually a really nice setup. So we'll definitely be hitting 250 on this one. And this is supposed to be a 25-minute stop, but it's lunchtime, so it says 25 minutes to continue trip. We're definitely not going to be done in 25 minutes just because it's lunchtime. But after this, we'll try to pick it up again. I don't know, I'm kind of debating the whole trying to go fast thing. So again, part of me, wants to keep pushing it and go as fast as we can and everything. But at the same time, we're really in no hurry. We're actually ahead of schedule right now already. and we're just gonna enjoy our time having lunch. Are you ready for some lunch?
Yeah.
All right, so Stephanie and I are gonna get subs at this place. The kids have fruit and yogurt and everything in the car that they can eat. Our biggest problem with speed is that because this charge is gonna take so long, realistically you could drive really far to the next charger, but we can't because of the kids and maybe because of me. So that's where we're gonna lose time, is the car will be able to go really far and we won't. All right, that took forever. It looks really good. We meant to order online on the way there, and we just totally forgot. And then it took them so long to make it. I think the truck's actually done. I think it's ready to go. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's got a couple minutes left, but yeah. So we're gonna hang out and eat, feed the kids, and be on our way whenever we're done. We're not probably gonna rush this one. Oh, what are you doing? You want to sit up here?
Yeah.
That'll be a cool place to eat lunch. Yeah, seriously, I know. It's crazy. And you too with the new 3. How you liking it?
It's great.
Yeah?
Knows it's a new car.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Can you get up there? You need help?
Mind if I ask you some questions?
No.
You've been hassled enough.
Oh, go for it. We've been doing it the whole way, but happy to do it.
How is the hassle factor, this?
Oh, it's crazy.
Status?
It's crazy. It's like 90%
I've
of...
been here for 20 minutes and I've seen 5 people just roll up and take pictures.
It's 90% of people that are driving by are taking pictures, asking questions when we stop, which...
That's sketchy on the highway with people
There have been a few cars, veering off and stuff, yeah. But I expected it to some extent,
sure.
Not that extent. Yeah. Leaving Yulee, that sub was really good. Was yours good?
Yeah, it was.
So it was awesome. We were there for 36 minutes, which is 17 minutes more than we actually needed. And to be fair, for lunchtime stop, we were chilling out, talking to the new Model 3 owners next to us. Kids were sitting in the front, eating lunch. I feel like that's actually a pretty good time. 36 minutes for a lunch break is not bad at all. So we're off to our next supercharger. It's estimating arrival at 30%, but there is, right past that one, another V3 supercharger that if it's an hour and 48 minutes to the next charger. If everyone's doing good at that time, we're just gonna skip it and go to the next one if we can, which is cool, but it just depends on, what's going on at that time. Everybody's happy for now, but that's not guaranteed in 2 hours.
All right, what else is crazy is that we're 15 minutes away from the hotel that we stayed at on our last night on the way down. And we left there by 9 and got to the house we were staying at 3. I mean, how many hours have we been on the road now? We left at 8.
Yep. 5.
So it's just way faster than the way down.
Yeah, we're making good time for now. We're about to pull into the Ridgeland, South Carolina supercharger. We did end up skipping a supercharger, and we're still going to get here with 19%. There are, it's at that
Now
one.
your destination is on the right.
Yeah, see them right there. There are 5 stalls available, and Stephanie was saying, she's like, I can see why it didn't take us to this, because it's kind of far off the highway, but as we run over that curb, we're good to back in, and you got a spot there where you can... Yep, for sure. All right, here we go. All right, we got 3 minutes left. You can see this was a tight one. It's barely reaching, but I mean, there's a little slack left in there, so it is reaching. 3 minutes left to continue on trip, and we're here. We're ready. We got some drinks, use the bathroom, and we'll head off in 2 minutes. That stop was kind of a blur. It was really fast. It was 17 minutes. We parked. The people next to us kind of talked to me for a second, but small baby was screaming her head off, so I think they kind of backed off when they saw that. We ran inside, did everything really quick, and we got to unplug pretty much immediately. when the car was ready. It says we're going to arrive at the next stop with 13%, which is awesome. We arrived at the last stop with 19%, which is pretty good. And it held over 250 kilowatts all the way up to 30%. And then the taper was really slow. It actually held charge. So in that 17 minutes, we gained, I think, 51.4 kilowatt hours, which is almost the same size as the standard range Model 3 battery. So we took almost a rear-wheel drive Model 3 battery into our battery pack in 17 minutes, which, if you think about it that way, is just crazy. And we're off to our next trip, or off to our next leg. It's over an hour and a half to the next one, and this is supposed to be our last supercharger stop, but depending on what we do at the hotel and everything, I don't know exactly what we're going to do, but we'll see. That'll be around dinner time. It says it's supposed to be a 45-minute charge, so we may let it go longer than that, or may not, depending on what we do dinner-wise. We'll have to see how it goes, but overall, this trip is, I mean, I feel like at least it's like going a lot quicker. We're not dilly-dallying, we're not talking to a bunch of people, which I loved doing that, but this is just kind of a different perspective on how to do these electric road trips. So as we're driving, Cybertruck definitely has some wind noise. I don't know how well that comes across on camera. But for whatever reason, it doesn't, I don't know how to describe it. It's not as bad as other cars, like other Teslas or any other cars I've had. The only way I can think to describe it is it sounds like the wind is really far away. So although I can sit here and think about wind noise, which if the radio's on or something, I don't notice as much, but I can think, I'm trying to analyze it to talk about it on a video, I can, above 70-ish. It's like, okay, there's some decent wind noise there, but it feels like it's up here and like far away from the car. And because of that, it's not an annoying wind noise. I don't want to mislead anyone. It is there, but it doesn't bug me like wind noise normally does in other cars. And then road noise and other stuff is no big deal. Wind noise is definitely the biggest thing I can hear if I think about it. But as I've said before, the overall experience is still really nice and comfortable.
I know y'all get this all the time, but I am so curious.
Yeah, it's a Tesla Cybertruck.
Cyber what?
Cybertruck.
Cybertruck.
Yeah, it's a pickup. It's got a 6-foot bed.
What?
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah, it's made by Tesla. It's pretty new,
I
but
was gonna say it has to be new. Right?
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
You like it?
Yeah, it is cool.
Cool.
Like we were over there talking, and Heather was like, "Look at that car," and I
Yeah.
was like, "What is that?"
I know,
I'm
it's
gonna be one of those that stop because I'm sure they get it all the time.
no biggie. Yeah, we do, but it's fun. It's cool.
That's awesome.
Thanks,
I
yeah.
would not have guessed that had a bed in it.
Yeah, it's got a bed in the back, and this opens for more storage because there's no engine and all that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's sweet.
Cybertruck.
Yep.
That's neat.
Yep.
Had to ask.
Of course.
I was very curious.
Yeah, thanks.
Have a good one.
You too. All right, I'm gonna try to do this update from my glasses while we walk over to Sonic. Small baby here is losing her mind a little bit, which is fair. We've been in the car all day. I feel like we're making really good time. These stops have been very efficient where we unplug pretty much immediately when the car is ready. This stop is predicting a 45-minute charge, but it's getting us to our destination with 13%. Now our destination is just a random spot on the map that we picked. So we'll probably stop at another charger a little later, just to get charged up before we go to the hotel and sleep for the night. All right, so I was wrong. I didn't realize that Stephanie had changed the destination. And so we're sitting there and I get the notification, car's ready to go. I'm like, okay, it definitely has not been 45 minutes. I don't know what that means. But yeah, we didn't need to charge that much. We kind of do need to charge that much still because of the hotel. But no, it's not gonna drive away. But yeah, I don't know. Basically, the Cybertruck was ready, but we still need more charge. So we'll probably just take off, right away.
Yeah, that's why we were rushing to get out here.
Okay, so we were rushing to get out here. We're gonna leave and then we're gonna figure out the hotel charging situation for the night and be done. So overall, still pretty efficient trip. That was dinner time, nice break. Kids are super happy now. They got, show me that toy. What toy did you get? It's like a sweet skateboard. That's awesome. We're here at whatever, I don't even know the name of the supercharger. I'll put this stuff up. Plugged in. This is a weird setup. Check out this setup. So it's like a circular setup. You can see it kind of circles around, and then you have cars still circles. So like circles around this parking lot. When we plugged in, it's V3, of course, like everything. And there's like multiple all in the same area. So, you know, you have V3, and then next door you have a V3, and the next door you have a V3. Like there will be 3 all together. All right, so we're gonna get up to about 80% here. So this is where the charging is way worse than gas, because nobody would come sit here for a half hour and then go to their hotel like if they were getting gas. They'd just pump it in the morning for 5 minutes and then move on. But we don't want to only drive a little bit in the morning after we wake up. So we're going to charge up to around 80% here and then go to the hotel, and we'll be able to leave the Cybertruck with the cooler in there and everything on. I probably won't keep Sentry Mode on, but I'll be able to keep the cooler on and keep the power going. We looked for hotels with charging. It's pretty common, but it's not everywhere. And where we are now, there's basically no hotels with charging. We found one, and it was 6 kilowatts, which is not terrible, but not very fast. And it was like 25 cents per kilowatt hour, which again is not terrible, but when we have free supercharging, and it wasn't a hotel we really wanted to go to anyway, it was a little bit out of the way, it just wasn't worth it. So around this area, we couldn't find it. We don't care, we'd just rather do this for a half hour and then go to the hotel and leave in the morning, be able to drive for a bit and before we do our first charge tomorrow. So that probably wraps it up for tonight. And I will check in with you tomorrow. Also, I used the EV-Ject on this one. But yeah, I decided we're done. I mean, we looked at the route and figured that we have enough to just move on. An early start, it's 7:26, so we're doing really well. We're gonna arrive at this next supercharger with 8%, finally. Now, of course, that'll probably go up a couple percent. Hopefully it'll go down a couple percent. Would love to get there with 5% and see what that charge is like. But we'll see. So to get home, this is predicting 1, 2, 3 supercharger stops before we get home. Now I routed like near home, so might need a little more than that. And will we actually only make it with 3 stops? I doubt it, but it's worth a try. First stop of the day, we're heading to the Whiteville version 3 supercharger. I don't think we've been here yet, even though we were in this city. I don't know, I can't remember. But we're getting in, look at that, 6%. You got a tiny little sliver left on the battery there. So our lowest pull into a supercharger yet by far, which is exciting. Now, it does say this is a 40-minute charge. I'm skeptical it needs that long. So let's see if I can do this correctly. So far, Stephanie's been better at backing in than me.
That's right.
From this distance, it should be very simple. If I can't do this, we got a problem. There you go. All right, let's do it. Oh yeah, this looks good. We will plug in here. This supercharger handle is like frozen because it's cold out here. So that should at least help, hopefully keep it charging quickly for a long time. Is this a V2? I think this is a V2. That must be why this charge is going to be so long. Oh, that's so lame. We finally get here with 7% and we're at a V2. Unbelievable. All right, change of plan, mostly just for the video. But I mean, I don't know, for us too. We're just gonna go. So we're gonna go to the Princeton, West Virginia supercharger, which is a V3, which we went to on the way here. And this, so we only need 10 minutes here, which it's probably done. And we're just gonna move on to that one and hopefully try to get there with really low percent. Because at least there's like a Starbucks and some other stuff, whereas here there's nothing. But we're all ready to go. So at least it was a quick stop, but already adding time, doing what we can. All right, we're heading into this tunnel. We were just stopped here for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. Just like everything completely stopped. And now it's just like going again. So I don't know what that was about, but it was a little weird. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we saw like this huge thing back there that definitely would need the whole tunnel to itself. So maybe they like stop everything for bigger stuff and let it drive through by itself so it has both lanes. I don't know, but here we go. All right, well, I failed you. We're here with 14%.
Gotta say, this thing is sweet.
You like it?
Yeah, we saw you pull around at the stoplight, and I was like, oh my god, I've never seen one in person.
You're gonna buy something for yourself. With what money? With my money? Being in this thing, it's like you're a zoo animal. Like people are just constantly, you get a lot of like that, or like these, people are taking pictures. It's so, I did not expect it to be as intense as it is. So keep that in mind. If you're getting delivery soon, this is gonna be you. If it's within the next, I would say like 3 to 4 months, this is gonna be you. But no, you're good. Come on over. Well, I mean, if you're not camera shy,
Hey, what's up, man?
hi, you too. Yeah, of course. Thank you. All right, well, it's done now, so let's go.
Really cool.
It's cool.
Yes.
Never seen one. Come on, even working here.
What?
Even working here. None have come through.
No, you're the first one.
Wow.
We've seen.
Cool.
This is
Awesome.
Have a good day.
All right, thanks. You too. Ripley, West Virginia supercharger. It's this, and it's lunchtime, so we already ordered the lunch online. So we didn't make that mistake again. And this is a V3. I double checked so I didn't mess up. It's a V3, it's lunchtime. I think it says a 30-minute charge. Yeah, 30 minutes. We could probably get out in that amount of time. We'll try our best. But honestly, as the days went on, we're still gonna get home like an hour before we were planning. And it's just not my style of road trip. I don't know, you can agree or disagree?
I agree.
Okay, it's just not my style of road trip to be like, oh, let's go as fast as we can and everybody get in the car. It's just nicer to do your thing, whatever. That guy's kind of blocking a charger, but who cares because they're all open. But that's an interesting thing. So we're gonna back in here, do the thing, and then after this we'll have one more charge. Let's line that up. Oh yeah, that's perfect. They got a garbage can here and everything. Oh, they got a squeegee. That's crazy.
Nice.
That's great. Man, I don't know if the pedestals are just differently placed or what, but I feel like I'm parking very similarly each time. And like the give I have is dramatically different at each charger. So like it reaches, but look how tight that's pulling. And I feel like the last charger, I was like this close to the line and everything was about the same, but I had tons of slack. So I'm not sure why these are so different, but yeah, it would have been a little nicer for these to be longer, not just for Cybertruck, but also for the other vehicles that are now using superchargers. So this stop is a Sheetz. It's one of my favorite supercharger stops. Lots of Sheetz, lots of Wawas. There's a big Wawa Sheetz war between people. I don't know, I like Sheetz slightly better for whatever reason. We were able to order our food online, so it'll be ready when we walk in. We don't have to wait for it. And, you know, I've been thinking about the time, because of course, everyone's talking about the time, and we'll go over the charging time at the end of the video, and how long, you know, it took us to charge and drive and everything. If we wanted to save time, we would fly. So, yeah, you could do it obviously faster in a gas car, or some other EVs would be slightly faster maybe. But if time is the number one concern, then don't drive. You gotta fly. That's the fastest. So gas is just kind of like this in between that. I've owned gas cars, you know. My whole life was gas cars, obviously, before the Teslas. And I've been doing this now for 5 years, and I have no desire to go back. So if nothing else, hopefully that'll tell you something. All right, we're booking it back to the truck, and we didn't make it. Just got the notification that it's done charging. So we're gonna overcharge for probably 5 minutes or so, but whatever. What are you gonna do? We tried. Luckily, oh, get it. Luckily, we did pre-order that food because that took 9 minutes to make, it said. And so we would have been behind probably 15 minutes instead of, I think, probably only be 5 minutes behind now. But again, it's just kind of the same thing. We just cannot usually go as fast as the truck. Usually. Sometimes we can. And if it was two adults, I'm sure you could almost every time. But with these two little ones, it's just a little more relaxed. Oh, pretty cool. Oh, okay. The bugs off the front. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, that's like a whole bee. That's crazy. There's like a whole bee up there. Oh, this was a bad idea. Oh, this was an awful idea. All right.
Did you clean up your windshield?
No autopilot. Talked about that a little bit in the last video. I don't think I mentioned it in this video yet. Overall, I'm surprised at how little I miss it. I thought it was going to be awful without autopilot and I would just be suffering. I mean, I can definitely feel it in my hands and wrists just a little bit, just barely. And especially after over 5 years of using autopilot for pretty much all of my driving, I really don't miss it that much. We have been using TAC for pretty much all the driving, and for the most part, it's working really well. Now on this road, specifically, it's had a decent amount of phantom braking going on, which has been really annoying, but it wasn't happening for pretty much all the rest of the trip, except one time to you on the way down, and then just now it alarmed and hit the brakes decently hard. Now, just like if you use autopilot, you know, you usually keep your foot hovering over the accelerator, so it was very easy to cancel that out and just press the accelerator, but that is super annoying. But the funny thing is the behavior is very autopilot-like. So although I have to, you know, keep us in the lane, the speed modulation and the phantom braking kind of feeling is kind of the same as what autopilot gives you. The other thing I'll mention is when you turn on TAC, just like when you turn on autopilot or FSD, it changes the wipers to auto. And we've had a few phantom wipes here. It's on auto right now. Luckily, you can turn it off though. So that's what I've been doing. And when this thing phantom wipes, it like almost scares you because this huge, it makes this loud noise. It's just this massive thing and it just sits at the bottom. It's kind of in your way. So it's definitely a much weirder experience. But yeah, overall, I'm very surprised at how much I don't miss autopilot. Although, do I wish I had it? Heck yeah, I do. If it was on the car, would I be using it? Yes, of course I would. But not as big of a deal as I initially kind of thought it would be. So interesting about the Cybertruck, I don't know if other Teslas do this, but correct me if I'm wrong, when you use the wipers, it automatically turns on the headlights. So just one click there, and then the headlights turn on. You can see they're on there. I can turn it off, and in just a few seconds, these will automatically turn off. Actually, a great idea. It's a Cybertruck! Cybertruck! Made by Tesla. What? It was so silly.
Funny.
He just couldn't wait. He couldn't resist. So I don't know what this nav is doing exactly, but it changed our plans here. Now we did make it from the last charger to this one, so the kids have been doing great. Everybody's been doing really good. We've hopped chargers almost every time these 2 days, which has just been really good for our time. But it added another stop. I have no idea why it did that. When the car said it was done, I was like, oh, okay, it's done. Let's unplug and go. I think while it was charging, it changed its plan and made the charge we were at shorter and then had us hop to 2 more chargers. It didn't really change the time very much, I don't think. We mostly lost time. We were stuck in that traffic jam in the tunnel, in the mountain. But yeah, the time didn't change. I have no idea why it did that. And it kind of annoyed me because I had a plan. I wanted to do what it was doing. And then without warning, it's like, no, now you're doing this. So it would have been nice if there was some warning or reason that it did it, but that's just the way that it did it. Wow, this is steep.
Good thing you're driving a Cybertruck.
Seriously, we would have bottomed out in the Y in that for sure. But yeah, a V3 here. Now, it says it's a 15-minute charge. We are not gonna, we just can't keep up. I mean, oh, hold on. Okay, so this is another interesting charger setup. I'll go behind this Model S, I guess. And yeah, this is a cool charger setup. So you pull in both sides, but we're not gonna be able to keep up. It's just, we're not fast enough. The kids need a break. We're gonna plug in, but I am gonna try to unplug here quickly so that we can get to the last charger with a really low charge. But with that said, if we spend extra time here, then that will actually still save us time, because then we'll be at the last charger for less time, and then we're gonna go home. So we can arrive home with 0% or 1%, and then obviously plug in overnight. There goes the V3 whirring away. All right, break time. Just show you this. We almost have the kids out of the car. Stephanie is finishing up getting GB out of the car. We're at 253 kilowatts with 9 minutes left. And we still have to, we haven't moved. We haven't moved. All right, so we got out of that charger. Pretty good time. We added about 5 minutes to our arrival time at the end of the day. But I unplugged the second we got back. I think we overcharged for like 1 minute or something. But it does estimate arrival at this last supercharger at 13%, so I'm doing my best. But after I had unplugged and we're trying to get the kids, you know, snacks and stuff, like 5 people came up. I mean, nobody was back there. It was in the back of a parking lot. And then just like people surrounding me from everywhere, which is great. You know, I like it. It's fun to talk to everybody. But Stephanie's like, hey, help me with these kids. I'm like, oh yeah, the ride is sweet and everything. So that added a few minutes. But, you know, everybody was super polite and saw that we were kind of wrapping up. So we didn't spend too long, but we're going to have to blast out of this.
Yeah.
You ready?
I know you're more than capable of achieving that.
All right, hold on. We're going to go fast. Are you ready?
These ain't no Florida lights.
Hold on to my fruit snack.
Hold on tight.
Hold on to your water. 3, 2, 1. We made it.
Those people back there don't even know what hit them.
There we go. That's a really long train. So this is what auto wipers look like on the Cybertruck when it's mistaking that it needs to be going. So that just started happening for no reason. But if I want to make it go away, what's funny, I'll show you, is if I click here, I gotta pause the music. If I click here, there's no wiper settings anywhere in the menu. You have to click this first, and then they pop up down here, and then you can turn them off. But until you turn them off, the wiper stays down there if it thinks it needs to be wiping. Findlay, Ohio, final supercharger. It's at this Denny's. This is actually our first and last supercharger of the trip last year. And it's funny because this Denny's, it's like from 50 years ago, and every time we've been here, even just in the Model X, when we walk in, it's just full of like a lot of older people, and as you're walking through to like the bathrooms are in the back, everyone's just staring at you like, what is, like, these people are from the future. And again, that was just in like the Model X or anything else. We're not gonna go in today because we're just gonna go across the street to Tim Hortons and use their stuff. But yeah, it's just so funny coming to this place. Yeah, we're already getting stared at because it's like they don't know Teslas exist or something. I don't know. It's just always a weird experience.
Well, it's usually really busy here too because it's our first stop in the morning when we leave somewhere.
Right.
And now at least it's later in the day, so it's not quite as crazy. You already have people filming you over there.
He followed us into the parking lot. So, all right, let's plug in. You can see here, so look, I plugged in. You can see here they used to have the bars here to stop you, but they've removed those for Cybertruck, but also other EV charging. So this one is supposed to be a 30-minute charge according to, you don't have to say cheese, according to the planner. We don't need anywhere near that, I can tell you that. But it's dinner time, so we're gonna pull their food out of the cooler and feed them and hang out in, are we pulling the food out right now? Or?
Do you want to eat it tomorrow?
Yeah, that's fine. And we'll eat at Tim Hortons and use their tables and stuff in there, but we have a bunch of... You what?
I want to get picked up.
You're too big to get picked up.
No.
All right, 1 second. So we're gonna use the tables. Can you stop so I can finish this, please? Thank you. We're gonna use the tables and stuff in there and just, you know, pull the food out that we have, eat some dinner, it's dinner time, and then go when we're ready. So I'll try not to leave this plugged in too much because I don't want people to see like all this charging time and think, oh, you have to charge so much, when it's just not the case. We're just overcharging all over the place. Take pictures, you know, check, come look, touch it.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Interesting? Is it ugly though? No, you think it looks cool?
It's very futuristic.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Oh, nice. Hold that. If you press it hard, it'll go all the way. Yeah, and then you can put it back down. Keeps everything safe. Keeps it more efficient when it's closed, you know, for the arrow as you're driving. But yeah, it's our last charge. We live in Michigan. We'll be home in a couple hours or something, hour and a half.
Well, how exciting. Y'all be safe.
Thank you.
How long do you get off the charge?
On the highway, like 200, 250 miles in that range. Right. Off highway, if you go slower, I mean, you can definitely go over 300
Do you
for
find
sure.
they're in convenient places?
Oh yeah, there's so many. Final charge complete. We got dinner for everybody taken care of. We got to talk to a few people. There was actually an Invader there. There was a Mach-E charging. I couldn't believe it. That's the first one. This whole road trip, we've been to so many superchargers, almost 20 superchargers at this point, I gotta imagine. And that was the first non-Tesla we saw at a supercharger, even though they're now open to Ford and Rivian. So interesting. I think the adapters are still getting sent out, so not everybody has that ability yet, but it's coming. That's what it's going to look like. And there was still plenty of room at that supercharger for more people. So no problem. Happy to see it. So this is the last leg of the trip. We have no more charging. We're going to arrive home with over 10%, which is plenty. We could have unplugged a little sooner, but we were talking to a couple people, and again, we're just not in a rush. We're just not that kind of people. So I will check in with you after the fact, and we will go over the stats of this drive and see how fast we were able to get home, how much time we actually spent charging when we were a lot more diligent about like leaving as soon as the car was done. We missed it a couple times, but overall, I think we did a really good job.
It's amazing, like when your mindset changes, how things go differently, because like the whole way down, we barely made it to each hotel that night. We went down, it took us 2.5 days. This time we were like, let's go, go, go. And we just like charged, ate, did everything we needed to do super fast, rushed back to the truck, didn't take our time. And we're gonna be home by like 7:30, which is just insane that in 2 days we did it so much faster coming back home. Although the drive home is never quite as fun as the drive down. Here are my final thoughts now that we are getting very close to home. This has been an awesome road trip. Overall with the Cybertruck, what I will say is there are 2 negatives for me, and both of those are temporary. The first one is no autopilot. The second one is all of the attention. It's fine for now, and it's fine when I'm with Chris, but if I have to drive this thing without Chris, the attention and all the questions and stuff is a lot for me, especially since I'm always with the kids, and they're enough as it is. See what I mean? And like Chris is already telling me, oh, I'm gonna take your car to work tomorrow because I need to try out V12. And it's like, okay, so then I'm left with the Cybertruck and I have to drive the kids around in the Cybertruck by myself. So not looking forward to that, but that is temporary. As they get more popular, obviously the attention will fade. But when I'm with Chris, it's great. It's been a really cool experience. We've met a lot of really cool people. It's really changed my view of what people really do think of the Cybertruck. There was a lot more positivity out there than I expected. So it was just fun to see so many people so excited about a truck. Like, it's just a car, but it drew a bunch of people together that we never would have met before, so it was cool. All right, one more thing. Some of you and Chris has already asked me if I could pick any Tesla, what would I pick? Would I want to stick with my Model Y? Would I want a Model X? Would I want a Cybertruck? And for me personally, I would probably go with Model X because for my needs, it's sufficient. I'm just driving my kids around all day and it's an awesome car. However, I think per family, one person would benefit from having the Cybertruck, because if you're going to do any kind of traveling, it's so much better than the Model X because there's just so much more storage space. So I don't need a truck. I don't need a 6-foot bed every day, but it makes sense like that Chris has it and I'm driving something a little bit smaller. I also don't know what all the stats say yet, but I noticed no difference in charging time from our trips with the X. We had 2 X's, the Legacy X, the Refresh X, and then the Cybertruck, and I have not noticed a difference in charging time at all. It seemed very fast for all of them.
Let's finish this up with some data. So the Cybertruck ended up going 1,294 miles, and I'm mostly going to compare this to the Model X. I'll have the stats up on screen for you next to each other. I kind of have them in my head. I don't exactly have them next to each other, so I might get some things slightly wrong, but you have it in front of you. So the negative for the Cybertruck here is that we didn't end up finding any hotel charging, whereas last year with the Model X, we did charge at a hotel, and you'll see that does save you some time overall. So the Cybertruck had 10 charging stops, whereas the Model X, I believe it was 8 charging stops when you exclude the hotel charging. And 2 of these charging stops were pretty much before we went to the hotel and after. So we would have either, if we had hotel charging, we could have definitely been down to 9 supercharging stops. Maybe we would have been down to 8 supercharging stops, which would have been the same as the Model X. But it is what it is. We had 10 charging stops. Charging time was about 3.5 hours. It says 3 hours and 34 minutes, but one of the charges was 10 minutes. And it counted it as 1 minute. So I'm just going to say 3 hours and 44 minutes. It's somewhere around there. Whereas the Model X, I think, was actually almost exactly the same. It was within, a few minutes difference. Again, it's all up on the screen for you. And the distance traveled in the Cybertruck was 1,294 miles. And the Model X was only 18 miles more than that. So the route wasn't exactly the same, but the distance was about the same. The average speed was exactly the same. They both averaged 65 miles per hour. Driving time was slightly less with the Cybertruck, although it was still pretty comparable. So overall, compared to a Model X, which was for us last year a great road tripping car, the Cybertruck, you're spending about the same amount of time charging as you would in a Model X. And keep in mind, this was with us pushing the Cybertruck a bit. We tried to go a little faster, as we talked about in the video, but it wasn't the most optimal charge. Now, same thing with the Model X. If you were to do, a road trip race, Model X versus Cybertruck taking the exact same route, I'm pretty sure that a Model X would arrive at the final destination faster if you were doing everything perfectly optimally. But again, this video is more about the experience of using Cybertruck on a road trip, specifically a family road trip, as you saw here, and not exactly racing it, although we did try to push it a little bit to give you a more realistic look at how much time we would have to spend charging if we were a little more diligent about moving along and not just sitting there plugged in at a charger for an extra 20 minutes with, almost every charge. I know that the initial tests of Cybertruck from some people was showing that the charging was really bad, and it seems that Tesla actually updated the charging curve on the Cybertruck really quickly before I even took delivery and made it better, and I'm hoping that we're going to see more updates in the future that make it better, and not to discount the fact that eventually version 4 superchargers will exist that can charge at higher rates. There are none of those right now, so who cares? We shouldn't take that into account. You got to be happy with what you buy at the time. You shouldn't spend a bunch of money excited about a future promise that may never come or maybe take, multiple years to show up, but it is something that eventually could show up for us. So overall, road tripping experience in the Cybertruck is amazing. If you want to go faster, you can take an airplane. That will be way faster than any vehicle you would take to get from your destination from point A to point B. Airplane would be the fastest. I'm sitting here editing this. I forgot one more thing. So the average energy efficiency by the end of the trip was about 460 watt-hours per mile, which is more than, Tesla's EPA, estimate, which you would expect, going highway speeds most of the time. And then the Cybertruck used 526.6 kilowatt hours. And if we take 34 cents per kilowatt hour, some superchargers cost more than that, some cost less. That gives you a total of about $180 you'd pay for this trip. Now, if you were to compare that to an F-150 getting 20 miles per gallon with gas at $3 a gallon, that would cost you $195. So you're only saving about $15. Superchargers have become pretty expensive in the past couple of years, which is honestly pretty disappointing. Most of your, or I should say all of your EV gas electricity savings come from charging at home. I just wanted to point that out because some people asked in the part 1 video, and I meant to include that, but I just didn't. So yeah, you're not looking at money savings by taking an electric vehicle on a road trip, which again is really disappointing. And then if you were to compare Cybertruck, you got to compare like vehicles, but imagine comparing Cybertruck to something super efficient, then it probably costs more actually to charge Cybertruck than a really efficient gas car, which again is pretty disappointing, but that's how it is.